Prosecutors announced they were dropping charges against Kevin Spacey. You and I have been calling this for a long time.
Absolutely.
These were BS charges, and finally the DA had to acknowledge that when the, quote, victim pleaded the fifth during the preliminary trial.
The 1, 2, 3, 4, fifth.
Joining us to talk about this and much, much more is legal analyst and renowned litigator Debra Opri. Happy Friday, Debra.
Hi, Debra.
Oh, I'm glad it's Friday. With the Kevin Spacey thing, all you need to say is the prosecutor did not go through the litmus test with whether this was going to be a good witness or not. And the only unfortunate thing is, how does this affect the Me Too movement? And how much money do these accused now are they paying to get these defenses? So it's a very sad day, I think, for both Kevin Spacey and for the Me Too movement.
Me Too's kind of calmed down a lot, huh? I haven't heard much lately.
Yeah, but, it's not going to go away.
Mm-hmm.
It jumped the shark when it became Me 3.
Well, with everything, with the Kevin Spacey thing, with the bad witness pleading the fifth, very weak witness, very weak case, and he went through it, and this is a little chip off the Me Too movement. But now we have Epstein that's going to push it up a bit because he's in the category of the Weinsteins and all that.
Oh,
and
yeah.
It's a very serious story.
Well, before we get to
he's
that,
worse than Weinstein because these are girls that are underage. And I'm not saying what Weinstein was, but these are grown women, and it's rape in some cases.
Yeah.
But when it's children with braces on their teeth, oh my God!
And he's in a position of power.
Yep.
And the judge was very clear, and he said this word many times: uncontrollable.
Yep.
Uncontrollable urges with the young girls.
Before we get to
deny bail, amazing.
Before we get to the sexual assault allegations against Epstein, let's first talk about the flight risk, because that was the battle in court this week. How can you tell if someone's a flight risk? Because there are people like Scott Peterson who don't have a lot of money and don't have a lot of means, who had a disguise and cash and a passport in the back of his car.
Didn't have 2 planes like Epstein.
Was in San Diego.
He didn't have the passport. I mean, the passport, the cash, the diamonds. Diamonds are basically what you call, you commute with them, and you can exchange them and pay your way.
I did not know that.
Yeah, but with the passport, even though it may never have been used, the fact is he had it. I mean, why do you keep a passport like that?
A Dubai one, you mean?
Saudi Arabia, wasn't it?
Saudi Arabia, that's right.
Yeah, and he's got private planes. He came in and out of Teterboro. He's a guy in high places, high connections.
Yep.
He's got the money to pay people off. So this judge
Thank God.
basically said, but the judge basically considered what happened to him under Acosta many years ago. And he said, we're not going to make this same mistake twice. Yep. There really is no reason that he needs to be on the streets because it's been ongoing.
Yeah.
Do you think he might have fled the country had they let him out?
Yeah. Oh, God.
Yeah.
Do you think it's likely?
Yeah.
Wouldn't you?
What I thought of but you know what I thought of right away when flight risk?
Clayton Morris.
Polanski.
Oh.
I know. I thought of Roman Polanski. I thought of Roman Polanski when he got on the plane and left. I mean, that's the same thing that Epstein would have done. I really believe it. I mean, what's your take on it?
Absolutely. Feet don't fail me now. You have a plane, you have diamonds, you have all the cash in the world, you have houses everywhere. You leave because this isn't just you raped a woman. These are underage girls in braces. I've seen the interviews. I've looked at the pictures of them back then. This is a pig of a man. I cannot wait for him to get his comeuppance. Now, let me ask you this, Debra. I've been obsessing with his right-hand woman, this Maxine Jessling. She helped procure girls for him. She sent out younger girls to get these girls at the mall, at schoolyards. I mean, this woman was essentially a pimp.
Sex trafficker.
She's a sex trafficker. That's right.
Yeah. But wasn't charged.
Well, that's right. And I'm so curious. She's what?
She's a co-conspirator. I believe that she's going to get charges as a co-conspirator or sex trafficker.
Yeah.
And she just might. They're going to try to get her to turn evidence against him to reduce her sentence. But I believe she's going to be doing time. I believe she's going to be doing time.
Now that would make sense. If she can give evidence that is damning on him, and she's got, some sort of a sentence as a trade-off and a lighter sentence. That makes sense.
But you know what the thing here is? This may, in fact, be one of the strongest cases that was ever to come out with this sex trafficking, and this may turn the tide. And if you really think about the charges that are going to go down against Epstein, he may be going away for life, and I mean life.
God, I hope so.
But you have his connections to these politicians, overseas, business people, and you say, where is the domino? Where is it going to start falling? What is he going to do to save himself? Who is he going to turn in?
Well, if you're the prosecutor, how much leeway do you have? Because Acosta lost his job for giving him a sweetheart deal. If you go into Epstein and you say, all right, I'll give you 5-10 years if you give us the goods on Prince Andrew and Alan Dershowitz and whoever else happened to be part
Bill
of that
Clinton.
ring. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's negotiable. It is, and it's high-end negotiations, because if they say to him, we just don't want you, we'll give you leniency if you turn in all your conspirators around you that you used for the sex trafficking and that they were the customers of the sex trafficking. And I don't know. Well, you give us the names and you give us the evidence. The question becomes, is there going to be evidence of any value that he's willing to give with these high-end people?
We're talking to Debra Opri, legal analyst and renowned litigator.
And isn't that like going after the Johns? They never do. Let's publicly embarrass them, which they will be publicly ostracized. I mean, the video today is of Trump and the Miami cheerleaders and him grabbing her ass and pulling her towards. So there's all kinds of people that are related to Epstein. And whether you're in a photo with him or he procured girls for you, you're going to be taken through that horrible mud, as you should be, but he's the main culprit. He's the guy, and I don't think he should be cutting any deals.
Well, remember, the burden in a criminal court is the highest. It's beyond a reasonable doubt, okay? And this judge made a comment, and he basically said in these words, I think it's more likely than not you will be convicted. And that goes a long way at the bail hearing when you have the victims testifying at your bail hearing as to why you shouldn't be released. Highly irregular, highly unusual, but it was done. So this is going to be probably a very high-profile criminal case. It will be in the news possibly for years unless he makes a deal. And if his attorney says, and I don't think he's going to want to make a deal if he has to go in for more than 10 years. If his attorney cannot make a deal and this goes to trial, this is going to be absolutely the trial of this decade. Absolutely.
How important is the money trail? And I say that because he claims that he's a high-end Wall Street kind of guy. He's a hedge fund guy, and his only clients are billionaires. Yet you listen to interviews from actual hedge fund people on Wall Street, and they say, we've heard of this guy. We don't know who he trades with. We don't know who he represents. We don't believe any of this stuff at all. And then CNBC reports that he's not a billionaire. He's only worth $500 million, And you say to yourself, okay, well, if you're worth $500 million, that's a lot of money. That's not enough to buy your own private island. That's not enough to have the most expensive house in New York City and have 2 private jets and New Mexico and Florida.
The money trail is this. You're right. You're right in what you're saying. But the money trail is this. It's not, are you a billionaire? Can you buy your way out? The answer is, do you have access to funds to buy your way out, to pay as you go? And do you have the resources in which to disappear? He does.
Yes, he does. But what I'm saying is I think he got his money, and I think he got a lot of his fancy stuff some other way other than a hedge fund.
Well, that's a whole nother discussion. I don't discount what you're saying. Can they find it? Is it in the Cayman Islands? Is it somewhere else? Does he have boxes and boxes of diamonds? Maybe so. But this is a guy who has access to resources. And I think that was weighing heavily with this judge. He's got the resources to disappear.
I think what John's referring to is a country.
Yes,
Yeah.
that he may
Yeah.
have the
Yeah.
financial backing of a country. We know that he's been linked to Prince Andrew, who's
I doubt
part
it.
of the
I don't think the
I don't
royals.
United
think I don't
Kingdom.
think the royal house would allow that.
No.
But I think he
No.
has the resources to disappear into the woodwork of
Deborah,
a country.
what about the Mossad that was dropped? What about Israel? Could he have a financial backing like that?
Yeah, 2 different
Yeah.
prime ministers have been to that island.
Absolutely. I don't discount that.
That's exactly
you
what
don't
I
say
thought.
no.
Yeah.
He's got friends in high places, and that goes a long way in disappearing into the fabric of our society and our world.
Now, I don't want to get
That's
too
it.
conspiratorial here, Deborah, but if what we think may happen is the truth, if there are billionaires and heads of state and politicians and A-list Hollywood celebrities that are all going to go down if this guy starts to sing, and this guy is in prison because they didn't allow him out on house arrest and give him bail, billionaires have the ability to do lots of things, including make people disappear, have people killed in prison.
That's what the girl said. I think that's what the witnesses were insinuating. I fear for my safety. I fear for my life. I think it's very possible that if somebody can't buy off a witness, there are other methods to handle things. And listen, I'm making no accusations. I'm just saying in the scheme of evaluating
Right, we're
whether
speculating.
someone is a flight risk. Yeah, the speculation and the opinions, whether they're a flight risk or not, when someone has the resources to save themselves and to handle what did he say before in the ruling by the judge? He said something about there has been signs of taking care of witnesses or paying it or whatever. I don't remember, but there was, I think, comments made about witness tampering. So in the end, you consider all of this and the fact that he can disappear and do it probably very well. You know, he's a guy who is one of the people in the sex trafficking trade. It is a multi-billion-dollar industry. That is what all of us should be talking about today.
It's so disturbing. Now, I want to mention Vicky Ward, who's from the Miami Herald, who was the reporter who broke this incredible story. She just tweeted less than an hour ago, the people around Jeffrey Epstein are very influential. But when somebody like Epstein is in the kind of trouble he is, that's when those influential people start to protect themselves. I believe we're going to...
What did Dershowitz say when they asked him questions?
Did you see him yesterday on air?
Talking about his sex life?
He looked a little weird. That was strange. That was like...
Well, you know, listen, the people are going to move away from him if
That's
they have
exactly
not done so already.
her point, yeah.
Yeah, but these are the high-profile people. What about the people who stay in the woodwork? What about the people who stay behind the scenes, who say, yeah, we can handle this, yeah, we can handle this?
Jesselyn Maxwell.
Yeah. So with this sex trafficking and the analysis of he being one of the people, if the government is really interested in making this a valuable asset in this fight against sex trafficking, they're going to make a deal with him and get to know what he knows. And that will reduce his sentence so that he can have some sort of a life when he gets out.
God.
But that's what we all should be fighting for. What does he know that he can help in this multi-billion-dollar industry for the very wealthy and for the not so very wealthy?
Debra Opri, legal analyst, renowned litigator. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. Always a
Pleasure.
pleasure.
Have a great weekend.
Thanks,
You too.
Deborah.